Alright, welcome to another guide for dummies, this time for Phrolova. She's really simpler than you think. If you already know how to play Rocha and Cantarella, then their rotation remains the same. All you need to do is just start with Phrolova and Frolova's own rotation. Very, very simple. Just follow the input cheat sheet on the bottom left here. So basically, you just start with using her Echo, and then use the skill once, and then spam left click all the way. So Echo once, skill once, left click all the way. Even her dodge counter, you can chain a left click to it. Basic attack. So I already have a full Forte. Press and hold basic to do her Forte. And then press ultimate. And you're done with Phrolova. And now you switch Rocha in, basic once. And then E skill, 3 bounces. Ultimate. And then Echo. And then Cantarella in. So Cantarella in, you press E skill once, press Rocha's gadget skill, and then press her ultimate. And then heavy attack. 3 times, get her Forte attack. And then Echo, and then switch back to Phrolova. And then same thing, E skill, Echo, get your 6 chords. Same thing, just rinse and repeat. So, if you already know Rocha and Cantarella's rotation, you just do the exact same thing, just with the addition of Phrolova. Phrolova, just Echo, spam, left click all the way. So just to recap again, Phrolova, really simple. You start, press Echo once, press E skill once, and then left click all the way. You can chain a left click to her dodges as well, as long as you get your 6 music notes. So 6 music notes, press and hold basic, and then ultimate. And that really is it for Phrolova. The rest you already know. Rocha come in, basic once, E skill, 3 bounces, ultimate, Echo, and then Cantarella in, E skill, Rocha's gadget, and then ultimate, and then Forte, and then E skill super Forte, and then Echo, and then back to Phrolova, and then you rinse and repeat again. Echo, E skill, get 6 notes. That's it. That's the whole rotation. Just look at the bottom left and take note of it. That's it. You already know how to play Phrolova. Now let's move on to the details. Alright, now that we're done with the most important information, let's talk about her skills. So Hecate, the usual, she has 1 plunge attack, she has 1 heavy attack, and basic attack is interesting. When you do basic attack, 1, 2, 3. Look at how her basic and resonance skill is glowing. So depending on what you press, you will get a chord, the music note at the bottom of the screen. So if I press basic attack, I'm gonna get a red note. Let me do the same again. 1, 2, 3. And now instead of pressing basic attack, if I press resonance skill, I'm gonna get a purple note. Like so. Now, it's the same for her resonance skill. If you press resonance skill once, you're straight away gonna get purple. And then you can chain it to either basic and resonance skill again. So TLDR, basic equals red, skill equals purple. And I'll tell you what they mean after that. So now I've pressed skill once. I can chain it again. I'm just gonna press basic. And look, I have 6 chords now. Now if you notice, the first chord on the Forte gauge is mix of red and purple. I'll just call it the mix note. This note is special. This note can only be achieved by either using Echo skill, her Phrolova's own Echo skill, or after doing her intro attack. So let me do 1 Echo skill. And now let me do the same thing again. 1, 2, 3. You see how I already have 1 mixed note over here? So instead of red or purple, the next one will always be mixed after using Echo skill or intro attack. New notes will always move to the left. See how it's moving to the left? But the mixed note will always stay, so that will always be saved. You'll always save the mixed note no matter what. So don't think too much about it. Now let's move on to the next section. What happens when you have all 6 notes? Regardless of color, once you have 6 notes, you can press and hold basic attack to do Phrolova's Forte attack. So this will stagnate enemies and also gather them. And now, once you've done this attack, you basically lock in. You lock in all the notes. So whatever, any new notes that you get is not going to affect your Forte gauge. You just need to know that once you've done this attack, you are ready to use her ultimate. Phrolova doesn't have energy at all. She activates her ultimate based on having 6 notes. But there is an internal cooldown of 25 seconds to activate her ultimate. But let's move on. Now you have 6 notes. I'm going to use her ultimate. And this is where you will control Hecate. So, Hecate has 3 basic attacks. Let me show you. 1, 2, and 3. The third one with all the Hecates converging, that is her enhanced basic attack. So you can just spam basic for Hecate to do this attack. And then once this whole ultimate ends, Phrolova will just finish the enemy off with Curtain Call. This is her finisher. Now let's do it all over again. I'll explain what the notes do. So first things, get 6 notes. Lock in. Press and hold basic to lock in. And the moment I press ultimate, you will see the Forte gauge go from left to right. Whenever the needle touches a note, it's going to activate the buff of the color of the note. You just need to know that red note will give the effect of stagnation to Hecate's third attack. And purple note will apply a pull, a gather. So pulling lots of enemies for the effect. And the mixed note will have both effects, both stagnation and pull. However, when we're talking about damage, red note has the same damage as mixed note, and purple note just has slightly lesser damage. So you don't really have to think too much about the colors of the note because the damage difference is almost negligible. But if you're doing something like Wuthering Waves, then you can probably consider doing more purple note to pull the enemies, or when you're soloing bosses, when you're fighting a solo target, then you can do more red notes to stagnate it, to keep it still. But yeah, that's the difference between the 2 note colors, the red and purple. So now let me do my ultimate. My first note is mixed, so it's gonna have both effects. So watch Hecate. 1, 2, 3. So that does all the effects. So now it's back to mixed note again. Okay, next will be red note. Red note will be stagnate. 1, 2, 3. So that's stagnate. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you can end this early by just pressing ultimate again. So that's pretty much how you control Phrolova during her ultimate. You will control Hecate. Hecate will take damage and then it'll transfer to Phrolova. You can press jump to reset Hecate's position. You also get infinite dodges. But what you really want to do is just spam attack while at it. This is only if you're controlling Phrolova. Of course, the so-called correct way to control Phrolova is right after using her ultimate, you just switch characters right away and let her do her own thing. So let me show how Phrolova is actually played off-field. First things first, lock in. And then ultimate. And then I'm just going to switch to Rover right now. And then we'll see Hecate. So Hecate will always do a follow-up attack whenever you attack the enemy, like this. But notice how Hecate only does 2-hit combos without the third converging one. So if you want to activate the third converging attack, the enhanced attack, you have to do Echo Skill. Like that. So Echo Skill is the only way to activate the enhanced attack when Phrolova is off-field. And this is why Cantarella and Rocha are both really good for her, because Cantarella herself has 3 attacks that is considered as Echo Skill, plus her own Echo itself, that's 4, and Rocha's own Echo Skill, plus Rocha's outro Gadget Tornado, so that's 2. One last thing I want to talk about is Phrolova's special stacks over here. It's called the After Sound stacks. So if you have Inherent Skill activated, every time Phrolova starts the battle, she's gonna get 10 stacks right away. And what this stack does is that it will increase the damage of her Forte attack, this Forte attack over here, the multiplier of it. And also for each stack, it gives Phrolova 2.5% crit damage. And this will stack up to 24 times, giving you a total of 60% crit buff and about 2.6k increase for her Forte damage. So that's a lot of damage. And one more thing is that after 24 stacks, you can continue to stack this even more up to an extra 100 stacks. But each extra stack will give 1% crit damage. The only way to get these stacks is when Phrolova is not on the field and you activate Hecate's enhanced attack. So this will synergize with the same thing where you activate Echo skill so that it activates Hecate's enhanced attack, and that will give her 1 stack. So the reason why I say you don't have to think too much about this is because if you have Cantarella and Rocha in a team, you will get this stack anyway. You're supposed to be spamming Echo skills anyway, and each Echo skill will give her 1 stack. Another thing is that when Phrolova goes on her outro, she will also do 2 of that attack, so she will get 2 stacks right away. So let me illustrate an example. I have 10 stacks right now. I already lock in. I'm going to use her ultimate. I will outro to Rover, and Phrolova will automatically do it twice. See? 1, 2. That is 2 stacks. And then I'm going to use Echo once to trigger another enhanced attack. So that's the 3rd time. And let me switch back to Phrolova. See, I have 13 stacks right now. Now let's talk about her gear. Obviously, her signature is the best, and her signature is actually pretty strong as a universal rectifier as well. If you look at this, it gives crit rate, it gives attack, it gives resonance skill, echo skill, and most of all, it gives defense ignore. So consider rolling this if you want to use this as a shared weapon as well. Stringless is already number 2 now. This is number 1. And speaking of Stringless, if you don't have Phrolova's signature, then Stringless is the next best thing, followed by Cantarella Sig, followed by Zizi Sig, and followed by the standard. Echo, you already know from the patch notes that the new 3-piece Echo here is what you're going to use for Phrolova. So 3-piece Echo, you want the 4 cost to be Hecate instead of Fenrico. And then the other 2-piece, you're gonna be using either the old Havoc set or Midnight Veil, the support Havoc set, just to activate the 2-piece effect, like so on my screen here. So I have 3-piece of the new set and 2-piece of the old Echo set. And if you already have a signature, then you're gonna get a lot of crit rate because Phrolova also has crit rate inherent base stat. Then you can go for crit damage on the 4 cost. And it's the usual double crit, attack percent, and resonance skill because she scales a lot on resonance skill. And for the 3 cost, it's gonna be Havoc percent. And then for the 1 cost, it's going to be attack percent. And if for some reason you don't have enough of the old Echo set lying around for the 2-piece, you can also go for Lingering Tunes. Lingering Tunes has only like a negligible difference in damage. It's like 1% less damage only if you have really must use Lingering Tunes. So yeah, that's it for her Echo. For her skill, straightforward, level everything. And ultimate is the first one you want to get to level 10 because that's the off-field damage where Hecate starts attacking the enemy. Followed by basic attack. Basic attack is where her Forte damage is scaled from, the lock-in attack. Followed by Forte. Forte is the follow-up attack of either red or purple after doing her skill or basic attack combo 3. Followed by intro skill. She has a pretty strong intro skill when she's doing it during her ultimate, and then followed by resonance skill. Resonance skill scales the least, so you don't have to pay too much mind on this. You can even leave it at 6 if you're low on materials. And now for her sequences. Sequences, obviously S0, you can already play her. Followed by S2, 3, and 6. 2, 3, 6 are the stopping points. 1 is pretty good in a way that she starts with 2 volatile notes every time at the start of the battle, similar to Jinxie, so you don't have to attack too much for the very first rotation. But it's not that important. It's just a QOL. I would suggest that if you ever want to go past 0, just go for 2 first. 2 will increase her lock-in Forte attack by 75%. And After Sound will also further increase that damage. And casting that lock-in attack will give her 14 stacks of After Sound right away. This is her crit buff, so S2 is really, really powerful in her Forte attack and crit buff. S3 will further improve the damage of Hecate, and then you don't have to worry about the color of the notes anymore. Every time when you do the lock-in attack, it's going to change all the notes into mixed notes, so you will have both stagnate and gather effects on all of Hecate's attacks. And the last effect is, it's alright, it's reduced attack by 20% whenever they get hit by Hecate's enhanced attack. And S4 and S5 is negligible. The next thing will be S6. S6 is extremely powerful. It's about like 55% damage increase overall for Phrolova. Very, very powerful. The damage multiplier for Hecate's third attack is increased by 24%. And every time you do your follow-up attack from your skill or basic 3, when you choose the red or purple attack, it's gonna cast an additional attack from Hecate to 16% damage. And also getting 8 stacks of After Sound. So this is really strong if you want to use Phrolova as a main damage dealer, like an active character. And then lastly, this is also really powerful. If Phrolova is not the active resonator, targets will take 40% more damage from Hecate and Phrolova. Basically, they will take so much damage from Hecate herself whenever you trigger the enhanced attack. And if you're playing Phrolova as the active resonator and controlling Hecate, you will gain 60% damage bonus. So she is pretty much a solo god at this point. Now, team-wise, not much to say. This is the obvious best-in-slot team for Phrolova. Phrolova followed by Rochia, followed by Cantarella. If you don't have Rochia, then Shorekeeper is fine as well, or Verena. So substitute Rochia with a healer. And if you don't have Cantarella, then it gets more and more copium to play. Ideally, you really want Cantarella as a minimum to synergize with Phrolova. Another interesting composition is using Jinxie, since Cantarella can benefit Jinxie with coordinated attacks. Otherwise, this is also an option where you use Sanhua, Phrolova, Sanhua, and Cantarella. So you can see that Cantarella is pretty integral for Frolova's team to keep things going smoothly. In any case, for their Echo set, Phrolova, I already talked about 3 pieces of the new set and 2 pieces of either Lingering, the Old Havoc, or the Support Havoc. And Rochelle will be using Moonlit set, and Cantarella will be using Midnight Veil, the Havoc support set. So this is what you will go for on this team. If you're substituting any of them, it's gonna remain mostly the same. One Moonlit set, the other will be the Havoc support set. And if you're using a healer, then the healer will be using the healing set, Regenerative Glow. So when it comes to pool considerations, I personally would recommend getting Phrolova, followed by getting Cantarella. Cantarella's gonna get a banner on her, for herself. And then once you have these two, then you can consider getting Phrolova's weapon. S0 followed by Cantarella, followed by R1 of Phrolova's weapon, and then followed by S2, S3, S6, and then R5 of her weapon. But yeah, that's the end of the guide for dummies. Hopefully this has been helpful to you in understanding how to play Phrolova and some of her nuances. If you guys enjoyed this guide, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.